Welcome to The Explainer. So, today we're going to take a look at something that, well, on the surface, seems pretty simple. A bottle of oil. But what if it's more than that? We're diving into this really interesting world of vibrational luxury. It's this idea that blends old-school spirituality with modern self-care. So, let's get into it and see what's actually being offered here. So yeah, when you first look at it, you might think, okay, another fancy wellness product. It totally has that high-end vibe. But the brand behind it, the Thetapegaasi, is telling a very different story. They're positioning this as something, well, something way more profound.
And here's the kicker. Right here on the screen, the brand is super clear about this. They're basically saying, look, this isn't about your skin, and it's not a perfume. Instead, they're calling it a sacred experience, a portal to transformation and alchemy, all packed into this little bottle. I mean, that's a pretty bold claim, right?
Okay, so how do you actually do that? How do you take a simple oil and turn it into something they're calling a sacred experience? What's the secret sauce that bridges the gap between a physical thing and a spiritual one? Let's break down the process they lay out for us.
All right, so before we can even begin to understand the product, we got to get our heads around the core idea behind it all, vibrational wellness. What is that? Well, it's the belief that everything, and I mean everything, from the biggest star in the galaxy to the tiniest cell in your body, is vibrating. It has its own unique energy frequency. And the goal, according to this philosophy, is to get your own personal frequency in tune, kind of like tuning a guitar, for better health and happiness.
So to achieve this high vibration thing, the brand has this really specific 5-step process they call essential alchemy. It sounds pretty magical, right? The whole point, they say, is to fuse the natural ingredients with a very clear, very specific energetic purpose.
And this is where it gets pretty wild. Look at this process. You've got these really ancient, almost mystical practices, like choosing specific high-frequency crystals and then charging them under the sun and the moon. But then they mash that up with some really modern ideas, like bathing the whole mixture in theta frequency sound. And if you don't know, theta waves are the brain waves that are active when you're in a super deep state of meditation or right on the edge of sleep. So it's a real mix of old and new. Now, check this out. It's not just random. The whole process is incredibly intentional. They're not just throwing any old crystal in there. Each one has a job to do. Like you've got rose quartz, which is all about opening the heart, so that goes into their self-love blends. Then there's amethyst, meant for calming you down, so that's for relaxation. It's a whole system where each ingredient is picked for a very specific energetic effect.
Okay, so how is all of this supposed to work in theory? Well, the brand's whole philosophy really stands on two main pillars. It's this combination of energy healing on one side and good old-fashioned aromatherapy on the other.
Let's break those two down. On one side, you've got pranic healing. This is a spiritual practice, it's totally no touch, and it's all about working with your life force to clean up your aura or energy field. Then, on the other side, you have aromatherapy, which is much more about the physical science of how scent molecules hit your brain and affect your mood. The big idea here is to bring those two worlds, the energetic and the biological, together.
And this idea of prana is absolutely key to the whole thing. Prana is a Sanskrit word for essentially the life force. It's this invisible bioenergy that in this belief system keeps us alive and healthy. The whole point of pranic healing is to learn how to work with this energy to kind of supercharge the body's natural healing abilities.
So you have that spiritual concept, and then you anchor it with the actual science of scent. And this part is pretty fascinating. You know how a smell like fresh-cut grass or your grandmother's baking can just instantly transport you back in time? That's because when you smell something, the signals go straight to the limbic system. That's the emotional headquarters of your brain. It controls mood, memory, all that good stuff. So the scent is like a direct hotline to your feelings.
Okay, so that's all the big picture philosophy, but what does this actually look like in your daily life? I mean, how do you practice this stuff? Well, the brand is very clear that you're not just buying an oil, you're adopting a ritual. They give you a whole playbook for how to turn a simple action into a mindful, sacred moment.
Let's take a look at the morning ritual. This is all about starting your day with intention. So before you even get out of bed, you breathe in the oil from your wrists to kind of wake up your senses. Then you put a drop on your solar plexus, that spot right above your belly button, while you affirm your own power for the day. And finally, before you head out, you dab a little on your pulse points as a form of energetic protection. It's a very structured way to begin the day. And then you have the evening ritual, which is the complete opposite. It's all about unwinding, releasing the day, and restoring yourself. So you're meant to dim the lights, maybe light a candle, and really create a calming vibe. You slowly apply the oil, reflect on something you're grateful for. It's all about using scent and touch to send a clear message to your brain and your body, hey, the day is done, it's time to relax.
All right, let's zoom out for a second here. Because this isn't just about one product or one brand. What's happening with Thetapegaasi is actually a really great example of a much bigger shift that's going on in both the wellness world and the luxury market. They're tapping into something really current. And what they're tapping into is this very modern problem, something that a lot of us, especially younger generations, are feeling. Just look at this chart. Our hyperconnectivity, our digital lives are through the roof. But for many, that feeling of inner connection is at an all-time low. We're constantly online, but we can feel really disconnected from ourselves. And this product is positioned as a solution, a tool to help you find that connection again. This is exactly where this idea of conscious luxury fits in. It's this major shift away from thinking of luxury as just, expensive stuff with fancy logos. The new luxury is about meaning. It's about products that have a real intention behind them, that are sourced ethically, and that actually contribute to your well-being.
And I think this quote just nails it. True luxury is not about what you own, it's about what you embody. That really sums up this whole shift in thinking. The ultimate flex isn't what you can show off on the outside. It's the state of peace and well-being you can cultivate on the inside. It's about how you feel, not what you own.
So all of this leaves us with a pretty big question to chew on. As we all keep searching for deeper, more meaningful ways to take care of ourselves, are we starting to look beyond just the physical stuff? Could the future of self-care actually be vibrational? Tending to our energy, our frequency. It's a really interesting thought about where this whole wellness movement is headed. What do you think?